Meanwhile, we are taking a look at the Democrats' latest move. They are attaching the debt ceiling to the $3.5 trillion spending package to force the Republicans to vote on that. The Wall Street Journal editorial board is highlighting this morning that the Democrats are able to pass an increase on the debt limit without the GOP support, but they are insisting that Republicans provide votes to give them political cover in raising that limit. Joining me right now is Kentucky Congressman and Oversight Committee ranking member James Comer. Congressman, it's great to see you. I thought that the Journal was spot on in the debt limit show. That's exactly what this is. Do you think this is going to fly?
No, it's not going to fly. There are no Republicans interested in raising massive amounts of taxes. What the Democrats have to realize is there are consequences to elections. They unfortunately won the last election. They are the governing body in Washington. They haven't tried to work with House Republicans any on the infrastructure bill, on the budget reconciliation bill, which we wouldn't have supported the budget reconciliation bill anyway. So now it comes down to debt ceiling, and they're trying to tie it on their crazy, massive tax increase and excessive spending, and Republicans just aren't going to go for it.
All of these games, you know, I tweeted out the Journal's op-ed last night when I first read it, and I wrote, you know, can't we do better than this? I mean, all of these games in terms of getting the Republicans to vote for this spending package and putting it under the umbrella of, oh, it's about the debt ceiling, so that you and your colleagues are on the hook for allowing the debt ceiling issue to go undone. Janet Yellen is demanding and urging Congress to raise the debt ceiling. I mean, you're not going to allow the U.S. to default, right?
No, we don't ever need to let the United States default, but the Democrats are out of control with respect to spending. I mean, the federal government has spent way too much money for way too many years, but the Democrats have taken that to a whole new level. I mean, it's like spending on steroids now, and at some point you have to stop, and at some point Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi are going to have to realize they have the thinnest of majorities. They don't have hardly any margin to work with over here, so wouldn't it be a good idea to sit down and work with Republicans? There are Republicans who want to govern. I consider myself in that category. But when you talk about drastically changing the tax code at a time when we're still trying to battle our way through the pandemic and get our economy back to what it was during the Trump years, it's just not the right time to throw a massive tax increase, to change how we figure depreciation, to go after their socialist quest to redistribute wealth. It's just not the right time. But we have to focus on making sure the government stays open. But we could look at reducing spending. We could look at doing actual infrastructure that our country needs, not their socialist version of human infrastructure. So the Democrats have just found themselves in a corner. They don't have the supports to pass their radical socialist agenda, and now they're trying to somehow blame it on Republicans.
Yeah, I mean, that's another ridiculous comment. I mean, human infrastructure, come on. I mean, another lie from your colleagues on the left, you know, coloring something as infrastructure when we know that child care and spending on a Green New Deal has nothing to do with human infrastructure. So the lies are just over the top. I just wonder if anything gets done, economically speaking, in this administration.